are some of the common entry points to genealogy research for that larger group?
Yeah, people just don't know, especially Black people. We don't know who we come from because the narrative has been told for us and to us. And so most people can only identify with their great grandparents, maybe on one line of their family tree. And there's this healthy curiosity that Black people are beginning to have. And I think has always been there, but the information hasn't always been readily available. And it's really this opportunity for us to know who we are from our own terms, as opposed to what the rest of the world has told us who we are. And so it's really born out of DNA testing. A lot of people think they're a thing and they're not a thing. They think they belong to a particular place and they don't. And what I do is I identify the human beings behind the genetics. And as we talked before, there's a gap. With Black people, there's gonna be a gap, unfortunately, because of the atrocity of slavery. But what I try to do is take you as far as I can in the American story, and then your company takes to the African story, understanding that there will likely be a gap between those two.
So let's start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make up a scenario. Someone is from a large family that never gets together, and they decide coming out of the pandemic, we really, only time we get together is at funerals, and we always talking about having a family reunion. I'm gonna take the initiative and plan the family reunion, but I want to figure out, as part of the family reunion, I want to share the family's history with all that are in attendance. So what is the first step? If I say everybody at the reunion is going to come from Nanny and James Page, on my grandparents on my father's side. What's my first step?
So the first step that I always tell my clients is go to the oldest or the eldest relatives that you know of, whether that's a grandparent or a great grandparent, or sometimes it's just a parent. And what we do is, with that information, if we have a birth date or a location, we then trace that human being as far back as we can, looking at who their grandparents are and who their grandparents are. And we look for data and documents. Now, here's the interesting thing about when we trace folk. There is always going to be a kink in the chain. Most family, if you look at trees in the natural, the branches aren't straight. The leaves, some of them are dead, some of them are falling off, some of the fruits a little bit on the ground. So there's always going to be some difference. There's going to be a little bit of a push-pull, if you will, in a family tree. So what we do is we look at the documents and we look at DNA, and we try to do the best we can with trying to fit together who the individuals are.